Okay, so 14 boy to man moments. I've actually got them written down here because I wouldn't be able to remember them all. But let's just dive straight in, okay? So these are going to be moments that you go from a little child, you go from a little boy to a man, and as much as people think, oh, becoming a man is gaining some muscle or growing a beard and stuff like that, it's not, it's all mental. It's all the mental side of the game. So 14 boy to a man moments. We're going to fly through these guys. Let's get straight into it. These are the moments that turn you from a boy to a man. Everyone thinks it's maybe gaining some muscle, getting laid, growing a beard. That's all nonsense. I'm going to give you the 14 things that really change your brain. And as much as you think you're a man now, when these things happen, it really forces you to grow up and you never think the same ever again. So let's fly through them all. Some of you will relate to a lot of these. Number one is losing a parent. So I believe, as sad as it is and as much as it breaks you emotionally and then it rebuilds you back up, it's more so the fact that you've never experienced it, or at least most people haven't. Your whole life, your parents have been alive. It's all you've ever known, or at least one of your parents has been alive. It's all you've ever known. And you've always had that figure in place and they've done things for you. They've fought your battles. They've fed you. They've bathed you. They've done everything that you need done. If you have a tough dad, for example, a big, strong dad, you'll be like, my dad will knock your dad out. You know, you almost have that safety net at all times. But I remember when my dad died, there was a moment where I was stood in his kitchen and I shrank. I walked out of the room, gave him a kiss goodbye and whatnot. And then I just kind of walked into the room and I was like, whoa, it must have been like a panic attack. I got really small and the room got big and it zoomed out and I was like, fuck. And I just kind of caught myself in the moment and just went, I'm losing myself here. I was like, what's going on? And then I just went, no, he's gone. I was like, you're the man of the family now, step up. I was like, this is your job. You're going to have to step up. It's time. And I just came back to the room and I was like, I've never had that before. That was really weird. It must be when your brain is just flooded with emotion. Now that has to change you. And it did. It definitely changed me. And it's probably changed a lot of you. And sadly, it'll change a lot of you guys in the future. I don't know what it's like to lose my mum. Obviously, one day it's going to happen, but imagine that sucks. Imagine that one fucking sucks. Because you can say, I'm going to be my own dad, but you can't be your own mum. Do you know what I mean? What you can do, dress up as Mrs. Doubtfire and like entertain yourself. It's going to be impossible. So it's like that one I think is a sore one. So anybody who's lost their mum, I do think that's going to be difficult. But I do think when you lose a parent, it makes you realize that life is temporary. We are mortal. We are going to leave this planet one day. And it really recenters your brain into a zone where you think, do you know what? I need to have my own family. I need to have my own kids. I need to set a better example. I can't keep going on the way that I'm going on. And you start changing things. You start realizing what's important. You start valuing family a lot more. And it's a shame that it has to take something like that to make you think that way. But that's just human nature. So number two, becoming the man of the family, which is tied to that, but it's not always because of that. I mean, you could have a dad who's an alcoholic who's left early. And at 14, maybe you're like, okay, I'm the man of the family. I'm going to have to provide. Like, I'm going to actually have to go and get a job. At 15, 16 years old, you're already on a building site. You're already bringing in money. That does something to you. It's not good in one way because you don't get your childhoods and you get missed years. And I think trauma gets brought up later on down the line. But it's very good in terms of speed. It's very good in terms of speed. I think the quicker you grow up, the better, because you're now ahead of the game. When everyone else is playing on their PlayStation, you're researching business ideas or stocks to invest in. Like that can only give you an advantage, you know? Like they always say, just start earlier. Like if you want to be successful by 25 years old, just start earlier. How do I become a millionaire at 30? It's like, just start at like 12. Because chances are you would have had it figured out. It's a lot of it's just trial and error. And it's like the quicker you start, the better. And becoming the man of the family is one hell of a responsibility. When it hits you that you are the protector, like if somebody broke into the house, it's like, I don't care if you're 16 years old, you're the man. You're the man of the family. You're the strongest guy you're the strongest human being in that building. You're probably the first and last line of defense. And it's just like, wow, I'm going to have to change the way I live. You don't have a big, strong dad or an older brother to rely on. And that's a weird feeling. I think that's a massive boy to a man moment. Next up is betrayed by a friend. So I think this is a really good one for every guy to go through. Everyone's had it at some point, whether it's a friend that's, either lied to you or like slept with your girlfriend or something. Like, I think it's really healthy for everybody to go through this because you realize that a lot of friendships are just built on how it benefits them, and people will gravitate towards you, especially if you're like popular, wealthy, you get a lot of girls. People will gravitate towards you to feed off you. You get a lot of hangers on. And to experience that and to be like, okay, they never actually liked me from the start. They were slagging me off behind my back the whole time. And it's Saul to begin with. Maybe it ends up in a fight or something. I don't know. But when you realize like, okay, that can happen. You don't really trust people in the same way as you used to. You have friends, but you know what people are capable of. You know what people are aware of. You know that they're saying one thing to you and another thing behind your back. And then you realize what a real friend is. Somebody who defends you when you're not there. You realize that a real friend is somebody who actually wants the best for you. There's a lot of people out there who want you to do well, but not better than them. And when you do better than them, they get annoyed and they distance themselves from you. And those sort of people say things about you, they betray you. And once you're aware of that, I think it makes you very strong because you stop caring what people think. You don't need people. You don't need validation. You don't need people around you. And you have no fear of being disliked, which is something that I think is probably my greatest strength. And it sets you free when you know that you can be disliked and you can just get on with your life and do whatever you want to do. And you have no fear of what people are saying behind your back. I think that's when you get serious results. And that is a massive boy to a man moment. And the next one, we've all faced this, is the first love. When you have your first love and you think you're going to get married and you get whisked away and you get carried away. And I say first love because it usually doesn't work for most people. So what you end up getting is your first heartbreak. And you end up getting that moment where I think in the early days, most guys don't hold the value. I think the woman does. So for most of us, she walked away. She was the one that broke your heart. And it's good because it makes you realize as a man that even women, these beautiful little angels with these perfect faces, can be evil. They can be evil. They can go after their purest intentions as well, whatever's right for them. And it's healthy to learn that soon. It's healthy to learn that at an early age. I think if you got to, 29 and had your first heartbreak, it wouldn't be healthy. I think it would do something to your psyche at that age. I think you need to learn that young, get over it, move forward, know that a lot of things are temporary. Not everything lasts forever, and you should be happy of the time that you did get, and you should learn from each experience. I think that really grows a man up because I see guys getting carried away with a woman, or they get their first love and they're like, I think she's the one. I've just got lucky. First woman I met, I got lucky. And you're like, best of luck, but I know where this is going to end up. You don't say that part, but you're like, best of luck, mate. I hope it goes really well. But you know where it's going to go. And you know that it's going to result in him going to the gym and just getting PB after PB after PB. And that's healthy. That's a healthy time period because some guys regress and they go backwards and they actually go and get a worse woman. It shows you who you are as a man. They kind of step back and downgrade and go, I just want comfort. But it really separates the men from the boys. Obviously, the boy to a man moment. And the guys that go, that hurt, but I'm going to go again and I'm going to come back stronger because I'm going to go and get something better. And it starts off with, I'm going to show her and all this stuff. And eventually it ends with, no, I'm just doing this for me. And that's why every guy needs to go through it. Next up is dating an extremely beautiful woman. Okay, so dating an extremely beautiful woman will show you the true nature of men. I'm talking about your friends who secretly want to sleep with her, who are trying to crack jokes when they're around her, who I've had friends that used to like all her social posts and she was like their dream girl. They were commenting on their social posts. And then when they see me, they're like, oh, she's a bit of a hoe. And it's just like, I know you like her because you've liked her for 4 years. Like, you've literally liked every single post for the last 4 years. And now you're telling me that I probably shouldn't get in a relationship with her. I wouldn't if I was you. And it's like, I know it's your dream woman. Don't do that. And you get to see the true nature of people, which is really funny. And then guys that you don't know, the second you walk away, I mean, I've gone up to order food before with ex-girlfriends, just like in a Nando's, and the security guards come over. Within like 20 seconds of me just walking up to the counter and some security guards slid in and tried to get my girl's number. And it's like, when you see the nature of people, like I said to somebody This year, actually, I was like, I was like, when I go to the toilet, you watch how many of these waiters come over. And she was like, yeah, like 2 came over and tried to, you just see the true nature of people. And I think when you date a beautiful woman, first of all, you start getting jealous and you start, you know, you go on the back foot and you're like, who was he? Who was your ex? And you learn a lot about yourself and how the male ego operates. And then over time, if you're lucky enough to keep her or lucky enough to be with her for a long time, and she realizes soon that you're actually quite a weak individual, which happens with most guys at the start. If you have that time and you get to figure it all out, you drop your ego. Like I always say to you guys, I just don't really care about any situation. It's because I've been through a lot. I've dated beautiful women and I just know the nature of them. I know how they operate. I know how they do want a little bit of attention. And I know how guys can't wait to give them attention. I've seen some of the most powerful men I've ever met change. When a beautiful woman walks into a room, they soften their voice, they start doing things for her, they pull out their chair, and they're like, I'm just a gentleman. It's like, why don't you do it to Fat Sally in HR? You've never pulled her chair out. Do you know what I mean? And you see this all the time and you go, and you actually start to realize who people are, and they would stab you in the back in a second to take your girl. It's interesting. When you date a beautiful woman, you see the true nature of people. You see the way that men stare at them when you're walking down the roads. It's a real boy to a man moment because you realize when you have a daughter, how dangerous it's going to be. I never realized when I was younger why women were like creeped out by men or cautious of men. I was like, let's just go home and have sex. What's the problem? And then as you get older, you're dating a beautiful woman, you walk and you've got nothing but pure intentions for this woman. And there's a guy walking the other way, and the way he's staring like that at the woman, and you just think, okay, this is creepy. Especially when he's with his wife and kids, and he's staring like that, and you just think, this isn't good. When you see that nature, it changes something in your brain. You think, the day I have a daughter, I'm not going to look at things the same way. And you look at your woman differently. You kind of think to yourself, do you know what? I'm not going to let you walk home on your own. You actually see what they have been worried about this whole time. You realize your mum and dad were right. So next up is having 100K in your account. This is massive, guys. This is massive. Do you know what? We need a sip of coffee for this one. Having 100K in your bank account. The reason this is so important is because it makes you, as long as you didn't grow up rich, it makes you for the first time in your life a little bit powerful. And what I mean by that is 100K is enough to do pretty much everything that isn't top level baller. If you really wanted to, you could buy a supercar outright. You could definitely get one on finance. Okay, you can go and buy a 10 grand watch. Wouldn't really touch the sides. You can go and rent a very expensive apartment and think that you're going to be okay. You can go and take a girl on an expensive date, expensive holiday. You can go and drop 5K on clothes. You can go and buy Gucci, Versace head to toe if you really want to. You can, in theory, buy a house. You can put 100K deposit down on a house. And this is what I mean about 100K. It shows you who you really are and who you're going to be. Because if you can sit there with 100K in the account and live no differently and actually just kind of save it and keep investing, that tells you who you are and who you're going to be in the future. You're probably going to be very successful. But a lot of guys, they'll make 100K. And the next thing you know, they're showing up with the red bottom shoes. They're taking 4 or 5 girls out for dates every week. They're showing off. They go and get a new car on finance. They over leverage themselves and that money starts to come down. 100K is dangerous. It's a certain amount of money that allows you to do pretty much everything that you've ever wanted to do within the span of a year. You know, when it comes to Christmas, you can buy expensive presents for everybody. When it comes to a date, you can pay, no problem. It's not going to touch your bank account. You know, if you want to buy an expensive gift for a woman, you can, and it's not going to make any difference, and your quality of life isn't going to change. It tells you everything about who you are and where you're going to go in the future. Do you reinvest it? Are you scared to spend it now? That's another one as well. Are you scared to spend the 100? And it just shows you, you've reached your tolerance level. This is where you want to be. You've settled. You're a guy who's got 100K who doesn't want to lose it, who goes and buys a property and just has a couple kids and just goes, no, and gets really tight with his money. It exposes who you are. It tells you exactly where you're going to end up in the future, that first 100K. That is a massive boy to a man moment. Next up is living on your own. And I've explained this to you guys before. For example, when you're living on your own, and I mean like properly on your own, not university, I mean at your own house, if you actually live on your own, nobody else is there, no girlfriend, no nothing. You have a plate of food, you eat it for a breakfast, for example. That sounded weird. And you go to work, you don't wash it up, you go to work, you come back. When you walk through that door, that plate is still there. You have to wash it up. That is a sudden realization. Even if it's like your bed not being made, it's a sudden realization where you go, nothing happens in my life now unless I make it happen. That is the biggest boy to a man moment I think I've ever had in my life. It's just living on my own and going, that bowl and cup is still there. I remember the first time it happened to me, I was like, nobody washed it up when I was out. It's still there. I'm still looking at it. It's been sat there all day. I've been at work getting on with my life and it's just sat there for 8-9 hours. And nothing in my life works or happens or moves forward or has any level of progression without me making it happen. And when that hits you, you go, okay, I better get my shit together. I better start making a schedule. I better start deciding upon a bedtime. I better stop spending money on stupid shit. It makes you grow up overnight. Like I said to you guys before, you decide your bedtime. If you want to go and spend £500 a month of your wages on an escort or a prostitute on a Friday night to come over, you can. That's the advantage of being an adult. If you want to buy real life, real sized Marvel gimmicks like Thanos Gauntlet, you can buy all that shit. If you want to buy a home gym, you can pretty much buy all that. You can do whatever you want with the money. That's dangerous. You start to realize, actually, I am in full control of my life. If I want to go to bed early, if I'm the type of guy who doesn't want to play video games every day, if I want to go to bed early, wake up at 5 a.m. and hit the gym on a Sunday, I can become that type of guy. Is my household going to be the type of household that has healthy food in it? Or is it going to be the household where you walk in and all you have is sugary treats? Because some people are the sugary treats house. You used to go around your friend's house and be like, oh my God, they got the best food. They don't. They got the worst food, but it was good fun. It's because their parents were lazy little fuckfaces and they had no tolerance level. They had no honor in who they are and how their children were going to look. They had no pride in their appearance. They had no pride in health and stuff like that. They didn't care about the correct priorities. They decided to be those types of people. And when you live on your own and you see that cup or bowl or bed for the first time and it hasn't moved since you've been out, you realize my entire life is in my control. Whoever I decide to be and what I want to do, it will result in that. So what's the next one? The next one is first business failure. I believe there's statistics on something like 70% of people will try and start a business at some point. So a lot of you, especially men, will probably try and start a business. And I don't want it to get cold, guys. What you will find is that first level of enthusiasm and thinking, I'm going to be mega successful. I'm going to be a superstar, and you're picturing it all and it just never materializes. Some people it does first time, but it doesn't materialize and you fail and you lose your money and something you were so sure on that felt like your child goes wrong and you're like, how did it go wrong? And you start blaming other people and external factors and then you just realize it's one of those things. It's very hard. And then reality sets in. Okay, I've just got to go again. This isn't given just because I'm dreaming about it. You know, you see all these things. If you can believe, you can achieve. And if everyone can be a billionaire if they want. And it's just like it sets in and you go, this is tough. This is very tough. This is not going to be easy. I am now 20 grand in debt. Now let me pay off this debt and then I'll go again. I'll pay it off and I'll go again. You're like, fuck, I wish I never started that business. Yeah, welcome to the business game. That's how it works. You fuck up more than you win, but here's the beauty of it. You only need to win once to win big. And that's all it takes. You only need to win once. It's a giant boy to a man moment. Do you know why? Because it crushes your dream. It just grinds it into the floor and you just go, I was certain that was going to work. I told everyone I was going to be a millionaire. I was bragging to everybody. I said I was going to reach the top and then you don't. And then you go, okay, next time I'm not going to tell anybody. Next time I'm going to keep it quiet. And then it gets easier to succeed because you keep things to yourself and you haven't got that negative energy to deal with and you just learn from it and then you go again and again and again. And like I said, you only have to win once. The next one is getting fired. I think every guy needs to get fired at some point. It's a weird feeling. It's almost like rejection. It's almost like, shit, I'm not good enough. I've just lost my job. That used to be my worst fear. Oh my God, what happens if I lose my job? And then it happens to you and you go, it's kind of nice actually. I get to like kind of just drive home. I get the day off. Probably going to take a week off now. I've got money in the bank. I should be fine. Like, fuck them. They didn't want me. It is what it is. Fuck that company. You go through all these emotions like a mini breakup. And then you tell everyone at the company, you should leave too. You become like this absolute snake. And then you just let it go. And you start looking for a second job and it hits you like, shit, I better do something. I need another job now. And you go and get another job and you move on and life's fine. And you realize actually, this is part of life. Life is very fluid. Nothing lasts forever. You are going to go from one job to another job. You're going to leave some jobs. You're going to get fired from some others. It's going to happen. Nothing's personal. Nothing's personal. Sometimes they're firing you because they're just laying everyone off because they haven't got the money themselves. And you realize that even these big companies, they've got problems too. They don't last forever. And it makes you realize too that you are just a number at a desk. And they don't really value you. You could be gone anytime that they want you to be gone. And that is usually when people go, do you know what? On the side, I'm going to start a side hustle or a business because this could happen again. And suddenly that security of a 9-to-5 job that everyone told you at school or university was the end goal, was the end play. You go, it's not secure. You think a company as strong as something like Lehman Brothers in 2008 when that completely folded. And you just go, yeah, like somebody must have gone to university, got a degree, got a job at one of these big financial institutions and just been like, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30 and then boom, gone. I'm sure they went and found another job afterwards, but like that must have hit people hard to be like a company of this size can get rid of me. Yeah, like I need to protect myself at all costs because you know, sometimes you don't want to leave a company because you're like, oh, but I love the company. I got to be loyal to them. I owe them so much. I owe my colleagues. I'm telling you, every company I've ever left or been fired from, they've forgotten about me in a month. And you've moved on. Somebody else has replaced you. You say, we'll stay in touch. And you never do. You never do. And you just realize that so many things are temporary. And it's a nice reminder that you're going to be all right. That's a big boy to a man moment. Now, the next one, because I looked down earlier, is I'm pregnant. Not me, don't take it out of context, but when a woman says to you, I think I'm pregnant, or she's like, you know, sometimes they'll say like, I haven't had my period yet. That happens a lot. But when they say I'm pregnant, I think I'm pregnant, which I had once in my life, and she seriously thought she was pregnant. Actually, I've had it twice, but a serious one. And then she went and tested in the toilets in one of the Westfields. And she came out and I think she was actually testing, well, I know she was testing me, but she was a good woman, so I don't want to say anything too negative. But she came out and she said, she looked at me and I went, what? And she went, I'm pregnant. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I was like, I'm obviously going to stick with you. I was like, here's what we're going to do. First thing, I was like, I'm going to get a better job. We need more money. We need to start. And she was like, no, I'm joking. I'm not. And I was like, oh my God, thank God for that. But she was like, oh, it's so nice that you reacted in that way. It was a test, right? But the way it hit me that like, oh my God, like I can actually give birth, you know, as a pair to another life form. And then that responsibility of making sure that, like, that's a real responsibility. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not have you fed the goldfish and you're like, fuck, no, I better go and feed the goldfish. It's like, your kid will die if you don't do anything. Like, you can't bring a child into the world with like minus 58 pounds in your bank account. And it's just that sudden realization of like, fuck, one day that's going to be real. One day I'm like, people always say there's never a good time to have kids because you're never prepared for them. I realized that in that boy to a man moment, it just hit me. I was like, that is just the worst thing ever, but I will do whatever it takes to make sure I am prepared for it because I am bringing a life form into this world. And without me, that life form dies or gets adopted and sent to foster care and has endless problems and might get fostered by somebody. I mean, what do they say? Most child abuse is with stepfathers or step-parents. Yeah, of course it is, naturally. It makes sense, right? It's not your own, it's not blood. So then you just realize, wow, I'm going to have to step up. And it might actually be a realization for some of you guys where she says, I'm pregnant, and she actually is. And you will know, and I haven't had that yet, but like you guys will know, it will hit you as it will hit me. And we'll go, okay, I need to step my game up. I've been doing well, but I really need to step up. I need to do even more. I remember when my sister said she was pregnant, I was like, I need to step up as an uncle. So never mind what it's going to be like as a dad. Next up is cutting people off. this is a real rite of passage for a man. You know, everyone wants to be loved in school. You got so many friends. Everyone loves you. And you start realizing, actually, these people aren't good for me. They're not good for my life. And I don't like it when people cut people off because they've become successful and they just want to get rid of their old crew and find a new crew. That's disrespectful. Because people are useful in different ways. They're friends in different ways. You know, it's somebody that you can just confide in, somebody you can have a conversation with. It shouldn't always be done on a monetary terms and what you can benefit from. I hate that when people say, if you're the richest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And it's like, I might just be in the room with my day one mates having a crack, just having a laugh. So like, shut up. Do you know what I mean? I'll get in a room with a bunch of billionaires at some point. So just relax. I can do that tomorrow. But it's like today, I'm just in a room with some people I like because they're good people. I don't have to be in a room with people that are rich and successful. Like, that's such a Hollywood A-lister mindset. I hate that shit. Like, go and get yourself an agent if you want to do that crap. But, you know, at some point you do have to cut people off. Some people are toxic. Some people drink too much, go and party too much. You can't have them around you. I always think it's a green flag is with a woman when there's a girl that parties too much or sleeps around and she just doesn't speak to her. She cuts her off. And I think it's the same as a man. Like, there's so many people that you know are bad for your life. You need to cut them off. They're a bad influence. You need to get rid of them. And your parents will tell you, but you don't realize because you just want to keep everyone as a friend. You don't want to upset people. And you just have that sudden boy to a man moment where you go, if I don't walk away from this friendship group or these habits, I'm never going to get to where I need to get. And it's sad because you're like, I like those guys, but they're just never going to amount to anything. So then you have to kind of go on your own path and it's lonely. And they'll say shit about you and whatnot, and it is what it is, and you'll see all them together, and you're on your own, and it kind of feels a little bit lonely to begin with. But being a 33-year-old man, I've had many, many people reach out and contact me and say, do you know what, you were right. I wish I did what you did. And I don't take any solace in that because I don't want people to do badly, but it is recognition for making the correct decisions when it was difficult. And now in hindsight, it's easy. I cut people off for fun, but you know, when you're younger, it's a big thing because it's like we've been friends since school. Like, I can't do this. Like, do you know what I mean? You've eaten at each other's houses multiple times and you're like, can I just walk away from this? But you have to for your own benefit. And here's the thing. If they came to that realization a couple years later, they would cut you off. So you got to be first mover. Next up, we've only got 3 left here, guys. But next up is gray hairs, going bald or losing your hair and wrinkles. Now, this is such a boy to a man moment because you look in the mirror and you go, wow, like, I'm actually starting to look more like my dad, or I'm starting to look like I'm old. Like, shit, I've got some grey hairs. Like, I'm getting up there. And then a lot of people around you are younger than you, and you just start to realize, like, oh, I'm aging. I need to really stay on top of my health, or like, yeah, I'm slowly dying. I know it's a negative way to look at it, but you're like, I am getting older. Like, I'm getting up into those years that I never thought I would experience. Like, you know what a friend said to me once? He was like, you know, everyone thinks teachers were really old. He was like, they were probably early to mid 20s because they just come out of university and got a job. And I was like, shit, yeah, good point. When they say you'd say, are you going to see your boyfriend this weekend, miss? And everyone would be like, ooh. And it was like, well, yes, she's 23. She's 23. Of course she's going to see her boyfriend. Like, she's probably just, do you know what I mean? It's like they weren't even old. And now that I'm 33, we had teachers in their 30s that we thought were ancient. We thought their lives were finished. And yeah, it was like you saw a teacher come in pregnant at like 29 years old and everyone was like, what? And then as you get older, you're just like, oh yeah. And then you realize you look in the mirror one day or you have a birthday and you turn a certain age and you go, wait, that's me. I'm at that age now. That bracket that, like for me, it's the male advantage journey. When I talk about Michael B. Jordan was this age, Daniel Craig was this age, I'm like, oh wait, I'm actually that age now. And it makes you put your foot on the gas even harder. You're like, oh, I need to double down. I need to do this even more. Like every time you go to have a cheat meal, you're like, should I? Because like, I'm getting to an age now where like, I don't need the time to work this off. I can do without the month of relentless training just to get back to where I was. So you like make some better decisions in your life. You start setting yourself up better. You spend a little bit less money because you know you're going to need it, you know, for the future. And I think it's just that realization when you look in the mirror of like, I'm getting up there. I'm a man now. I'm a grown man. Because a lot of us, we still have it in our heads. And I think society's built to keep us immature in this era. But like you have it in your head, like school was just last year. School was a few years ago. Or like, oh, when we used to go out partying. And like when I think about it, I'm like, it was about 15 years ago for me. Like that's another lifetime ago. Like 15 years is such a long time ago when I used to go out all the time. And you just have to sit there and go, no, it's a different world. I'm a different man now. Like this is entirely different. And you know, I remember when it hit me at like 27, 28, when I'd like walk past a group of kids and you'd almost be thinking like, you almost got this mindset of like, I'm one of them. I'm kind of young, but they probably see you as like some old man. And you know what I mean? They'd be calling you unk and stuff like that. And it just kind of hits you where you're like, okay, I'm in more of the male advantages. I'm in the other side of male life. Let me just switch over. Like that's why I always positioned myself as a 40-year-old when I was in my 20s. That's why I made the video for you guys, because I was like, that's where life is actually lived. And you realize how much of this younger youth stuff is nonsense. It's just a waste of time. And then once you're actually in this bracket of the 30s, 40s and 50s, you go, okay, yeah, this is real life. This is adult life. And then you're kind of just unaffected by, oh, have you heard that new song? You're like, no, and I don't care. Did you see what happened with the football, the basketball yesterday? You're like, no, but like, I mean, who won? Oh, nice. Do you know what I mean? You just don't really pay it attention. And it's a really nice feeling because you just have this detachment from things that don't really matter. And that is for me a massive boy to a man moment, is realizing that you're getting older and you need a certain level of structure in your life and responsibility. So the penultimate one, a close friend dying. I sadly had this, but when a close friend dies when you're young, it makes you realize, and I won't dabble on this one too long because it's very obvious and I've kind of brushed over similar things, but it makes you realize that you can die. It makes you realize that you're not invincible. And I'll never forget when his, I believe it's his uncle, turned around in the car when we were going to see the crash site and said to me, you were his best mate. What songs did he want at his funeral? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, all we talked about was women and football. And he was like, yeah, good point. And he just sat there for like 5 minutes just going, fuck, good point. And like it hit both of us. I was like he probably thought of it like, Jesus, they were young. And I thought of it as like, yeah, we've never really had those discussions. You know, like now, like with 1MI, as big as it's getting, I'm starting to think, okay, who am I going to put in place in case something happens to me? If I died, what happens to the brands? And I'm like, okay, you should probably start planning for this shit. If you have kids and you've got a wife and stuff, you should probably sit down with a financial planner and make sure that everyone's secure and it's going to the right people. Because it's like, it's slowly becoming an empire. You didn't think like that when you were 18, but when my best friend died, like these things start to hit you for the first time and you're like, huh, people, one day they're here and the next day they're not. The old Tommy Shelby quote. And it really did, it felt like that. It was like, yeah, just one day they're here, next day they're not, and life just keeps moving forward. It's weird. It's a really weird thing to get past, but that is a real boy to a man moment. And now we're on to our final one, guys. Thank you if you've stayed for the whole video. I know it's been quite a long one. What are we on? Oh, 33 minutes. Not nowhere near my longest. How did I used to do it in an hour or two? So the next one is learning to control yourself. And for me, this is such a big part of being a man. I'll tell you the exact moment after another sip of coffee, if you don't mind. I know, why am I drinking coffee at like 8, 9 at night? It's what I do. It's the only way I can sleep. I'm weird. But learning to control yourself, I'll tell you the exact moment, okay? It's when you really want to masturbate. It's when you really want to eat some nice food. It's when you really want to watch a movie and you put it into your head that you're going to do that. It kind of enters your brain. You go, oh, it'd be really nice now to just like almost have a wank. It'd be really nice to just sit and watch TV. It'd be really nice to eat some shit food, or like, I'm going to have a beer. And then you go, but I shouldn't. And it's like, but there's nothing stopping you. You could. It's right here. Like, I've got my hand. I've got a penis. I could just do it. And you go, I know, but it's not right. I need to be more productive with my time. You know, or you've got a nice bit of food in front of you. You're about to eat it. And I've done this. I had a tiramisu and a cheesecake. And I was sat there looking at it and I was like, I bought it with the intention to eat it. It was my cheat meal every week. I used to have the same thing and a big pizza. I think I ate the pizza, but I was looking at the other two and I was just like, do I actually need them? And shamefully, I put them in the bin and I just never really did that stuff again. You know, I'd have the odd one now and then, but like not on a weekly basis. Like I kind of got rid of that shit and I was like, you're being soft. You don't need a tiramisu and a cheesecake every Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? It was like that in a movie to relax. And I was like, no. And when you've actually got pleasure in front of you, like it could be a woman, could be a beautiful woman, and maybe you're in a relationship and she's putting it on you and she's like, I want to fuck. She's like, let's go home. And she's trying to rub up against you and you're like, no, I've got a woman, I'm in a relationship, get away from me, and you walk away. Like that level of strength is a real boy to a man moment, because a boy is very much any hole is a goal. It's very much, I just want to sleep with as many women as possible. And then you get to a point where you go, I actually don't want to. Maybe you don't like her. Maybe you just think, yeah, you're beautiful, but I don't like you. And that's the other thing. When a woman is incredibly beautiful, but you go, it's just something's off about you. Something's not right. I'm just not feeling it. And you walk away. It's like, wow, that's powerful. Like you've reached a certain level now where you're not controlled by your impulses. That's a big boy to a man moment. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. That's my 14 boy to a man moments that I've experienced in life. And if you've got any more, leave them in the comments. I think it's a cool discussion. And I encourage people to make their own versions of this video. I think it's a really good topic and I think it helps a lot of men. So if somebody wants to remake this, you don't have to tag me. I just think it helps people. So if you want a content idea, if you want to do 15 boy to a man moments, I don't care. I just think it will help a lot of people. But guys, hope you enjoyed it and I'll speak to you all soon.